All right. Nice, nice. So thanks for being here with us this evening. Also, thanks to everyone joining us remotely via Zoom. Although we don't have the chat up on here, can our remote attendees tell us where you're joining us from by typing in the chat maybe? And we'll figure it out later. Nick will send us a report. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Doug Bennett. I'm the acting director of the New York Tech Alliance and your host for this evening. So before we get started, I have a few items to share with you. Please know that we record our events to share the experience with those unable to attend. Recordings are posted on NYTA's YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our channel and view this and past recordings by going to youtube.com/New York Tech Alliance. For anyone joining us for the first time, the New York Tech Alliance is a nonprofit serving the New York tech community. At the core of our mission, we drive access, equity, and inclusion to make the New York tech ecosystem the most diverse and dynamic in the world. To learn more about us and how to engage, visit our website, nitech.org. How many of you are joining a meetup for the first time? So we got all right, we've got quite a few. All right, nice. So for all of you joining us for the first time, our meetups are all about the tech and the market opportunities each company is addressing. It's not about the business or revenue model. Those conversations can be had during networking time or elsewhere. So during the Q&A following each demo, please keep questions focused on the tech and the problem or opportunity it's addressing. Otherwise, you're likely to get booed. Thanks to our annual sponsors who help make this possible. Each has a presence on our website. You can learn more about them and how they support our community by going to nitech.org/sponsors. Special thanks to our annual sponsor this evening and our space host for tonight, Northwestern Mutual, who's graciously invited us back. It's such a great space and we're super grateful to be here. I'm giving a big shout out to Sangeetha Ray, who leads the tech and customer experience here at Northwestern and is an incredible DEI champion within the company. Thank you, Sangeetha, for being such a great partner. Yay, Sangeetha. I also want to recognize Stacy Zaha, Ann Dolan, Nick Stera, and Andy Perez. Thank you for all your help and support. It's so appreciated. And here to say a few words on behalf of Northwestern is Shani. Hey, Shani, welcome.
Is this on? You can hear me? All right, perfect. Well, hello and welcome everyone to Northwestern Mutual. Again, I'm Shani Penn. I am one of the leaders of our technology customer success team under Sangeetha Rai and a rep for our New York Tech Community Group. We are so happy to host the New York Tech Alliance here again and beyond proud to partner with this amazing group that's connecting businesses and the people who think them up to the best networks and resources our city has to offer. Northwestern Mutual, our primary purpose is to build digital products that put our clients in control of their financial security. And we weave innovation into every step of that journey. We thrive on bringing outside-in perspectives from emerging tech and looking at disruptions across all industries. So it's entrepreneurs like you that allow us to keep adapting to our ever-changing world and take the best technologies, the best ideas into giving our customers excellent and effortless experiences. So thank you guys for being here today. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Doug, let you get started. So happy pitching and good luck.
Thanks, Shani. Okay, just a couple more items. Our next upcoming event is on Wednesday, December 14, 12 noon Eastern time. It's our next Founder Spotlight hosted by Georgie Ann Gettin, founder and CEO of GSG Solutions. Our guest will be Dr. Eugenia Steingold, Chief Science Officer at GeoCloud. Dr. Steingold actually demoed with us this past September, and she'll be sharing her story and her journey about building GeoCloud, which is a medical technology company with focus on pediatric neurological health using non-invasive novel therapies. Say that 10 times fast. To learn more and register, please visit nitech.org/our_events. And lastly, we love and welcome support to help us produce and deliver our programming. 3 ways you can help include add a donation when you RSVP for one of our events, become an individual or corporate member, or simply make a small donation. And you can do so by going to nitech.org/support_NYTA. Okay, with that, let's jump into the demos. Each company will have up to 10 minutes to demo their tech, followed by 5 minutes of Q&A and 1 minute to make an ask of the community and or an offer. So first up is Scott Hall, CEO of AltHub. AltHub transforms raw data into valuable data assets that are ready to monetize. Hey, Scott.
Hi, is this on?
It is.
Great. Okay, let's introduce AltHub and the data world in more detail. Let me jump here. So everyone knows the massive amount of data that's out in the market, but it's really quite staggering. All the charts out there show you the volumes that have been increasing and the amount of data that we create. Just think of the journey you took today and the things you started in the morning, checking things, websites. I'm sure many of you were buying Christmas gifts and all these kind of items. All of this information is tracked, and it is incredible the amount. I think there's a stat that we generate about 300 meg of data a day on these different sites on average. So this creates a massive economy of information. Yes, the phrase is being used that data is the new oil that's driving the economy. It's really incredible how every industry is creating this kind of data sets. There's also an amazing amount of consumer insight, but there's actually a lot of business insights out there generated as well in this space. So there's a great opportunity for these companies that are generating data assets to create new revenue channels. And that's really the genesis behind AltHub. We built a company and a technology platform that I'll explain in more detail in the next few minutes to really help companies generate new insight products and create new revenue. Stats out there show that the market is potentially 65 to 78 billion of data assets currently that are not monetized. And who are the buyers of all this data? It's investment use cases, it's corporate use cases, and even more so government use cases for this information. So a bit more about these data providers. Who are they? What are these companies out there? Many of you in the audience work for companies that have interesting data assets. They're global 1,000 companies, the largest, the Walmarts, the Amazons, and such. But actually, one of the most intriguing areas is there's a wealth of small to mid-sized companies out there, tens of thousands of these companies that are coupon companies, or a company that does recycling, or a company that generates information on some sort of advertising area of the market. So many of these companies generate data, and to them, it's quite meaningful to create new avenues for revenue for them. As I mentioned, all areas, all across all industries. One of the most interesting trends recently has been a whole wave of new companies formed and well-funded, actually, to help with unstructured data to structured data, which is crucial for companies like ours and many other use cases. There's even companies now doing a lot more in synthetic data. They're opening up health records data and things like that. So it's a very, very interesting space, this data monetization world. The chart on the right just gives you a little sense of a forecast, but the current level. There's easily 2,000 or 3,000 companies selling data sets or more today in this market. So one of the things that might pop in your head is, why don't companies just do this anyways? Why is that 78 billion monetization gap even exist? The question is, it looks pretty straightforward. Why don't we just apply some IT resources internally? Why don't we build this? But if you look under the hood, most companies built their business for a purpose. The company that does coupon records is really good at collecting all the coupons that we redeem at supermarkets and storing that data. But they've never thought about the investment use case, or they never thought about other government or corporate use cases. So it actually is quite complicated. And that's really where we've come along. We've tried to standardize and create a platform that would actually help you take those data assets, transform them, use machine learning to verify what the information is, and then help with the delivery and distribution of it. So I often speak to our prospects and say, you buy Salesforce and HubSpot and other tools as your CRM, purchase AltHub as your data delivery platform of choice. So one thing I wanted to just get out there quite quickly is privacy, because it is a really big issue. And in our case, one of the things I wanted to just note to protect, obviously, the big concern around privacy is a lot of the data and processing that we're doing is more at the company level. It's to generate insights about whether Uber is a better Lyft company to buy stock in right now than Lyft, or vice versa. It's to create investment business outcomes and solutions around that. It's not related to personal information. So we are very much focused on business insights at that level. It could help a CFO make a better decision as possibly using this data, things like that. It's not designed like other industries, which are very much designed to market directly to you and convince you to buy something. Still, it's a very important area, privacy overall in this industry. So I just wanted to highlight it and talk a little bit about a focus to try and protect a bit against that area. So what I'm going to do is switch gears right now. I'd like you to meet Greg. He's one of our clients. And I thought what I'd do is walk you through the journey we went with Greg and his company. Greg is a very proud owner of a 30-year-old business in New England that does recycling. They recycle everything, 150 different products. They made their fame actually on recycling the harder stuff, like recycling bins, as it shows in the bottom column here, removing asphalt from roofs. They do residential, commercial, people drop things off, they pick them up. And one of the things that Greg did very, very well, he had a bit of an engineering background when he inherited the business, is 30 years ago, he made a really strong effort to invest in an accounting system. It sounds so simple, but he tracked every single item that came across into his facility and every material and the price point. For 30 years, he did this on a daily basis. He had to do it to create a billing records for his business. But guess what? What does that data look like? So I'm showing an example on the screen here. It's very detailed information. It's really very clever. He's got 150 different materials. And one of the comments when we called him was he said, "It's interesting you called me because every time my data went down, the stock market went down." And he said, I couldn't prove that, but that was intriguing to him, that his data might have some correlation to something else, another use case. So what did we do? We quickly loaded that data into our platform. And to be honest, machine learning models in a system like ours, like any, loves this amount of data. 30 years of daily data is fantastic. So what does it do? It figures out what combination of those 150 material types could predict a business is doing well or not so well, a consumer is doing well or not so well, and making some decisions. And what you see on the chart here is actually, after you train the model, we let it run against the last 3 years, and it decided on some stock trades. It basically made a decision in the model to buy or go short, in this case, the Dow Jones index. And you can see actually that turning point, which is March of 2020, when the drop of COVID was starting to really kick in on the stock market, that the model actually made some very big decisions. It decided to short the market. It did see this drop in recycling volumes, and then it was able to hold its position and get out of it. So what our platform proved here is that not only does Greg have really interesting data and very interesting for his core business, but he actually has data that could generate another product. So what we've done is actually taken this product already and shown it to investors and to some corporate users, and they were intrigued. They had not really seen new recycling insight data like this that was generated. And thankful to my team and the platform we built, we can build a new revenue stream for a company like his very, very quickly. So I kept it really short and sweet to just explain sort of the space we're in and walk through one of our clients, and we'll open it up for Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Do we have the catch box? There it is. So we've got this wonderful catch box with a microphone in it. Who has a question for Scott? Yep. There you go. Good toss. Good catch.
How do you find these vast pools of data that you use to run into your platform and make these products?
It's a great question. And in my case, I just love data. I've always enjoyed it in that journey as an engineer originally. And is that you just basically look for companies. A few things we do is come to events like this and talk to people. It's just amazing how many companies have data assets already behind them. The other one we do quite a lot is we look at conferences like a real estate conference or an ad tech conference, and there's always a showcase of vendors there. And by going to those events and meeting the companies, you can usually have a chat with them about what their data is, which is making them very profitable in their space. But then say to them, have you ever thought about turning your data into an asset for investors or for other corporate uses? And I would say most companies are curious about more revenue. It's a natural interest, and that's where we find them.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else? There we go.
Right. Do you require a certain level of organization to be able to determine if a company is fit to run with?
Is your question about, do we need the actual company to figure out the ideas, or?
That too, like the data that you go to a company that's been there for 30 years. Do you look at it and then say, they give you the raw data? It's not organized, or is it organized? What are you looking for at that point?
Yeah, so maybe I'll just take it great question, but we'll take it a little apart. We do need structured data, so there has to be a pretty good format. But the company doesn't have to thought about where their use case could be. That's sort of a fun discovery exercise we do with the company, is they give us an overview of what they've done, how they've stored the data, what they do, how they collect it. And we come up with investment and corporate use case ideas, and then we test them quickly. So in a way, we're like a lab. We quickly try 5 ideas. If one's good, we turn it into a product.
Anyone else? Right up there.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
What other areas have you stumbled across? I mean, I can see the connection here with recycling and the stock market, that kind of thing. What other 1 or 2 areas have you stumbled across that surprised you?
That's a really great question. Actually, we'll talk about, we're raising capital, and the VCs love to ask that question, like what sort of new discoveries. I would say a few things surprised me. One was the amount of government data companies that sell data to the government. And it's an interesting conversation with those firms. They have very interesting assets. Sometimes you sort of say, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know anymore about your business, but it's very interesting what these companies do. And there's so many of them that have been formed the last few years. But they say to us, I only have 1 customer. I'd like to diversify and have another customer. So we take a look at their data assets, where they can be sold, and try and turn them. So I think that's the interesting use case. The other one actually was healthcare records, surprised me. I didn't think we could do any work with that area, and we are starting to do it now with these other companies that turn it into synthetic data and hide any individual information.
nice. Thanks. One more question. Right up in the corner.
The top row is doing really, really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Thank you.
How do you use your unstructured data to make business decisions?
Such a great other question. You know what's been fantastic? There's been a lot of investment in these companies, a company like Cohere that we work with, another one called Alchemy. And what they're doing is making it much easier to turn unstructured data into structured by a workflow, no coding type tools. And we partnered with those companies to open it up, because you probably saw in the earlier chart, most of this data is unstructured. So it has to be converted into something before it could be turned into products by a platform like us. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Hey, what about an ask offer from the community?
Well, just 2 things would be great. If you have a data business that you'd be interested in seeing if other products could be built, or you know someone who has that kind of business, please come to us. We'd be happy to offer anyone here a complimentary test and evaluation of that data. The other one is we're in the middle of raising funds. If you're an investor, please come and have a chat with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, next up, we've got Brian Buchanan, CEO of Cap3 Collective. Cap3 Collective is building a thoughtful community to fund entrepreneurs with great ideas.
We are
Hey,
indeed.
Brian.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. I just need, there it is.
There you go.
Oh, something was missing before I said it. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate you being here and taking a little time to learn about Cap3. So Cap3 Collective, we're going to talk about it here. It is a platform that we have built. And before we actually get to it, quick show of hands. Do we have anyone who is a founder here? Someone who has seeks funding, sought funding ever? Yeah? Okay, good show of hands. Has anyone been doing it lately? Yeah, not so much fun lately, right? So, you know, going into this, we as a team have had a lot of experience, you know, with ourselves, with being founders and pitches and things are a little bit down right now. But the demand is always there, probably not as much as there is a supply of people looking for funding. So we said, well, what can we do to give projects that deserve a look and deserve to get some funding, you know, an opportunity that is not being currently provided by what's out there. So what we do is we use blockchain technology to do that. Anyone here in the blockchain space, Web3 at all? A little bit? 1, 2, cool. All right. Ah, fresh people. All right, love it. So what we do here is we have built a community-driven platform by using a crowdfunding mechanism to allow people to pool their funds and vote securely on the blockchain and create a consensus about what they would like to invest in together. A DAO. We didn't have a lot of Web3 hands, so we'll go ahead and say that. If you've heard of a DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations, they can be a bunch of different things. That's a whole nother presentation that deserves its own time, but they govern themselves. They have the ability to vote for their outcomes. They can create their own hierarchies within themselves. Once they start, you can set them up to have a hierarchy. You can do many different things with them. In the investment space, they've been used, one of the more famous examples, a group tried to get together to pool their funds to purchase a copy of the Constitution. They got beat at auction. Someone successfully had put together a DAO to buy a golf course and a country club. They all have fractional ownership of it legally, and the profits that come in from it get allocated equally to them, and they can make decisions together about what they want to do from a business standpoint. It allows you to do these things in a way that is trustful. So very quick, if we, what do you got, maybe 50 people here in person? If we said, okay, everyone here is on the same page. We want to invest in some fine art, and we all trust me to do that for some reason. And everyone like Venmo me $100, give me $100 on the way out. We'll have $5,000. I'm going to buy some art. You guys just trust me with that part of it. And when it feels like we can double our money on that, I'm going to go ahead and sell it, and I'll send you guys all Venmo back for $200. It's like not a good proposition, right? For many reasons. Like the trust is not there. You don't know me. Do you get a say in this? There's all kinds of issues that you would never in a million years even consider that idea. If I said to everyone, okay, we're going to start a DAO. It's called Art DAO. Membership is going to be capped at 50 people, and everyone can purchase one of the memberships for $100. The membership is your receipt for actually being in it. You are verifiably one of the 50 people in this community. And I am not allowed to buy any art until we as a group vote, and the funds that you all pay to buy your memberships that we're going to use to buy the art will not get released for me to use until we all get 51% or 80%, whatever we set, threshold to be able to vote. It gives everyone proof that their money is in fact in here. I'm not giving this presentation tomorrow to 50 more people and doing a whole nother thing. And it makes sure everyone is who they say they are. It gives you the ability to vote. It's all coded into the blockchain to allow that to happen verifiably. And it holds funds in an escrow type of setup until voting mechanisms or thresholds are met to release funds. It allows you to trust each other in a way that's never been possible before. No one here has maybe ever met each other. I'm sure some of you have, but if you haven't and we all joined a thing, you have the ability to trust the person you're in this with because the technology allows that to happen. Applying that back to what we do. but I went deep on the technology there. So that was okay. Very simple. It's the same thing, but we're going to do it with projects we want to launch. Ideas come in. Anyone can submit an idea to Cap3. It's a big old ledger of things that come in. We'll get to our numbers later, but we have close to 100 or so proposals that have come in. The community of members gets to vote on the projects they like. I'll spare everyone the details today, but we do a few a month, and there's the top leading vote getters every month. Projects that get funded, if the threshold is met, the money moves to an escrow, and the funds are released to them in a way that is secure, where they cannot take these funds and go with them. And the whole community has to have consensus on what they want to fund. Why is this better? Well, sure, you could say there's a bunch of different funding avenues out there, and this sounds cool. Cap3 does not take equity. Cap3 initially is working with other Web3 and blockchain-based projects, which allows this to be a very easy transition to projects that are built with also a blockchain-based product to have the funds flow directly back to the founders. To the community. But when things are launched with Cap3, instead of taking equity, there's a percentage of the revenue share from projects that are launched that is sent back to the community. So if you're a member of the community, you join, you get to vote on projects that you think are good ideas. If those ideas are in fact good and they have successful performance in the market, there's a percentage of the revenue that you will receive directly back into your wallet on the blockchain totally securely. You don't have to trust me or anyone else, it just happens. So that is the big thing that is the value proposition of being in it. And it's a revolutionary way to fund things that can be taken and scaled quite a bit further, you can imagine. The other thing from a marketing perspective, which is primarily my background, and it's really hard, and anyone knows it, like getting, it's a spend all the time, and it's hard to get momentum on things. If you have a community of people that are funding a project, they are automatically incentivized. Hey, they know about it. You have automatic brand awareness, and now they're incentivized to support it. They like it. One of the big things in music with blockchain is they say albums are going to be on the blockchain. And if you purchase the album, you will get a fractional revenue share of the streaming, which is cool. But like also now I'm going to share this album with everyone I know, and I'm going to listen to it more because I like it. And I like showing my friends new music, and I might make a couple pennies if they listen to it. The incentivization to support something that you have a fractional ownership of is amazing. We can do so many things with this. So we can do things like that. There are, like many other projects, accelerator resources. So the community has members of it that are copywriters and designers and programmers. There's a Rolodex of resources that projects will receive when they are funded by Cap3 that will allow them to get off the ground in the right way, in addition to the support they're receiving from the community. Everyone who's had investors know they can get a little bit handsy sometimes, so there's none of that. And as we've said a lot, it provides a secure way to do all of this. So we won't go too far into this, but to do this, we wanted to have a really accessible price point, and then we wanted to have a layer of community leadership that existed at a different level. So right now, I think 2.2 ETH is around $250. So it's a fairly accessible price point for people to enter and be a member of this community. That is open. Anyone can join it. There's a certain limit of time that you're allowed to be in the community with that pass, but that is there. Lifetime members, that I think is about $2,500 right now at 2 ETH. And there are 2,000 passes, but actually only 500 people can join that part, and they will get 4 passes each. So there will only ever be, at the most, 7,500 members of this community that can allocate, that can consolidate if people want to be larger members. And that allows the same group of people to always be in the mix and to work together to fund and participate in the projects and things that they want to make happen. And that's a little bit of where we're at. We launched in 3 or 4 weeks ago now, in the last month. Yeah, we've had about 4,000 people in our beta tests go through it, be in our Discord, join our community, submit projects. We're creeping towards the 75 number. We've sold about 50 or so tokens so far, and everything is built. And I know we didn't have a lot of Web3 hands. A big reason that space has kind of done a lot of this is because everyone said, hey, give me $1 today, and tomorrow I'm going to build something, or not tomorrow, in 6 months I'll build something, and it's going to be awesome, and trust me. We were lucky enough to be in a situation to receive investment to build this up front. So we're not asking people to join this to then go build what we promised we're going to build. We have a working voting mechanism. We have the working blockchain infrastructure to do everything we say we're going to do. And now we're just looking for people. So that's Cap3. That's what we want to do. And that's it.
Nice. Do we have any questions for Brian? Right at the top.
That thing's
There you
really
go.
cool.
Nice catch.
You explained you have tech about voting, but then how about like the collection of funds, dispersing of those funds and their returns? How does this get done?
Yeah, great question. That is absolutely the right question, because that is the question that people are like, well, what happens next? When the threshold is met where something is approved to receive the votes, funds will automatically move. Right now, this is an entirely scalable idea right now to just keep it simple and get off the ground in the right way. Rounds are $100,000 seed rounds. So it's very simple. We're only looking for people who are looking for seed round funding. When the voting threshold is met, that $100,000 will go into an escrow section of the blockchain. And we, as not the DAO, but the oversight kind of team that runs the project, kind of help manage that. And updates are provided to the community. The platform turns into the project managers. We will oversee the funds. There are some blockchain securities around that, so nothing can happen to them. It's all transparent. Anyone in the community can check where that's at all the time. People who receive the funding, there are requirements that they provide. We need it for this. The proposal said we needed $30,000 for this line item. Proof has to be provided that that is in fact what it's being spent on. We say, okay, here is that. When it's spent, we get the receipt of that. That goes back to the community. So as an active member of the community, which we encourage everyone to be, you don't have to be, there will be updates on everything all of the time. There will be partial human oversight of that, as well as blockchain, security measures in place.
Got you. So in essence, you do the due diligence as well.
Yes, for sure.
Right, I think we had one quick. Scott, do you have a question? Yeah. Can you toss it down?
I've been waiting for someone to throw it all the way
You can
down.
do it, Scott. There you go. Maybe not.
The question is just about regulation and know your customer. What kind of parameters do you have around that?
Yeah, quite a bit. So it was a joke that turned into a reality that we spent more on legal than development costs. Quite a bunch of hoops to jump through to make that kosher. We've worked really closely with Dentons to make it work. Some things are linguistically just needed to be said the right way. And you'll notice we actually trademarked the term. I don't know if it's in there. Maybe it was on the home screen. The original DAO fund, yes. DAO fund, we cannot say fund, but DAO fund is a word we trademark. So we can say DAO fund. There are certain things that make it kosher in that way. But yeah, I'll spare the details, but yeah, it's legally above board. So.
Good deal. Anyone else? All right, Brian, do you have an ask offer?
I do. It is right. I'm sorry, right there. Yeah, no, right now it's really simple. So I mentioned kind of what we're offering and the price points and things. So anyone who wants to join the community, go over to cap3collective.io. You can buy a pass today if you want to submit an application to be one of our higher level members and have a higher level of revenue share and a little bit more say what happens in the community. That's there. And even more importantly than that right now, anyone who is looking for a round of seed funding, you can submit your project to cap3collective.io as well and join the community. Tell people why you want to be involved. Tell anyone who might want to support you to join the community and support you that way. And that's what we're looking for.
Nice. Okay, next up is Abiodun Johnson, co-founder and CEO of GeoCloud. GeoCloud is a community tech and local search platform that creates customized location-based experiences for consumers, businesses, and government orgs to reach and engage with the people near their locations. Hey, Abiodun, I'm gonna get that right.
Good evening, everybody. So yes, we are, I'm co-founder and CEO of GeoCloud. Basically, Google search is broken. It's great for global search, but when it comes to local search, they really suck at it. So we're solving that problem. So we see a massive shift in human behavior where people are more connected to their local communities. And this has really been accelerated by COVID, right? So people are more engaging with their local communities. They want to support local businesses. And also we're seeing this in urban planning where people are building 15 and 20-minute communities where you can connect with everything you need within a walking distance. So there's a massive opportunity to create enhanced location-based experiences for millions of communities worldwide. So for consumers, they're demanding more efficient ways to find the things near them, right? Whether it's other businesses, people, groups, places, and they have a need to be hyper-local wherever they are in the world. And for businesses and government organizations, they are looking for more effective ways to reach and engage with the people near their locations. They have a need to nurture local relationships and drive repeated engagement with their products and services. So we built our first product, UGO, is a customized social network that serves as your local guide. So with UGO, you can find things, you can find events, groups, events and places all in one app without having to jump from place to place. We're also going to be powered by, we're powered by AR and also AI to really create a customized map experience, right? So my map is going to look different from yours depending on my interests. So here's a quick demo.
What kind of experience do you have of your city? Better still, what would you like to say about it? UGO is a service smartphone app that lets you discover authentic experiences where the city spirit thrives. You will never run out of things to do or see because of the real-time updates, which connects you to people, events, activities. I mean, with the UGO app, find and search new places around your city for you to explore. In accordance with their launch, UGO and 355 Group are partnering to create a digital scavenger hunt. Now, 355 will be placing gift vouchers on the map that you can redeem at many of their restaurant locations. Download the UGO app now and join the fun.
Yes, so here are personas. These are real customers, real problems. So meet Jennifer, she just moved to New York to work at Instagram. And really she's looking to explore the city and find cool places. So typically she will use Google Maps, Meetup, maybe Tinder, Eventbrite, and also Yelp, right? So with our platforms, you can do all of that within just the UGO, within UGO. Also, we have Natasha Williams, who's a city council member and has a pretty low engagement rate with her local residents, right? So typically she uses Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as you see, she can do all of this within the UGO platform. And then lastly, you have Dara, who's the CEO at 355 Group. And basically she wants to create awareness about her current locations and new locations, right? So she can do that. Instead of using Google Maps, Instagram, and TripAdvisor, she can do all of that in UGO. So with UGO, basically we help people make those location-based decisions a lot quicker, right? So as I mentioned, Google's not great at local search. You're probably gonna jump from Google to Eventbrite to a bunch of apps. We want you to have one destination where you can find everything you need, right? And basically become hyper-local wherever you are in the world, right? Whether you're traveling to a new city for business or just for fun, we basically embed you in the community to find everything that you're looking for very quickly. And then really, we want you to have a customized local experience, right? So imagine you're searching for a particular restaurant and you have a food allergy, right? You're gonna get a ton of businesses, and then you probably have to call individually to figure out, do they actually serve products that you can consume? We wanna really create the search experience to be customized to you. So my map is gonna look different from yours. And then lastly, our users have a intent to add a wallet to their platform, so basically be able to purchase those local products and services very seamlessly. So here's the platform. So the GeoCloud platform, we're aggregating and optimizing location data from multiple sources, right? So it can be user-generated content, business information, government information, local news, local weather, basically placing this on the map and creating customized solutions from that. Our first product is UGO. We're gonna build all the mobile experiences, interactive websites, and also an API and SDK, right? So you can start to embed some of our location-based services into your own platform. Let's say you wanna create an app that helps you find all the vegan restaurants, right? You're gonna need a map provider and basically a location-based services to pull that off. So the market is pretty big, right? So the location intelligence industry, it's $550 billion annually and growing. So this includes location data aggregators, location analytics engines, and also general and indoor mapping tools. So our service addressable market is $258 billion, and we're looking to attain $5 billion of that. So we've been getting pretty good traction so far. I have a little bit over 15,000 users on the platform who love what we've created. Pretty smooth interface, be able to find things, share things with your friends, and also find other people around locally. So why now? As I mentioned, Google search, local search is trash. So as we know, searches for near me are up 900% in recent years. Consumers are impatient and want things in the moment that need them, which is typically now. And also people are using search to find answers to immediate needs that have time sensitivity and a location aspect to it, right? So they're looking to purchase those products now. And also Zenly was acquired in 2017 for $350 million. And then Nextdoor went public last year at a $4.3 billion valuation. So we have a pretty strong team of engineers and business leaders. I graduated from Harvard College, engineering sciences, 2X founder, also a community builder. My co-founder, CTO, he's been coding since 13, worked with some of the bigger companies with leveraging location-based services like Google and Uber. At Uber, he worked on the Uber East teams to help manage locations and grow that and scale that. Adia is an expert in the telco space. She's worked with a lot of different telcos in West Africa. And then also Colin is a serial entrepreneur with multiple exits. So yes, my ask is we're currently fundraising, looking for more people to join our current pre-seed round, and also looking for people to download and test the app. So go ahead and get the EGO app. And then my last ask for New York Alliances would love to onboard this community and group into the platform to basically help promote the events that you're doing, but also create more social experience beyond this event so you can connect with everybody that's here and continue to grow those relationships. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? All right, right at the top. Scott, can you do it?
Here we go.
Right at the top. There you go.
What kind of data you collect? What kind of type of data?
We're aggregating event data from multiple places, Eventbrite, Meetup, other random other websites. We're collecting weather data, local news, place information, right? So you can search for businesses on our platform. So we're aggregating a lot of data and optimizing it to then basically create these customized experiences for you to find the things you love quickly in a quick manner.
All right, thank you.
Nice.
I was curious what locations you support.
Yeah, so right now we have over 20,000 cities on the app where we've aggregated information, but we're really focused on 2 key cities to create density so we can really proliferate the social experience. So the first is New York City and then also Lagos, Nigeria.
Nice, nice.
So how is the data collection that you do scalable? Because how do you expect to collect events, stores, coupons, and all of that? Just as I'm walking around the neighborhood, there's just probably 1 million stores just in New York City, another 1 million events. How do you manage that data collection?
Yeah, so we built a pretty robust system that basically aggregates a lot of this. It's mostly APIs. In some cases, we're crawling, but there's a lot of places where you can find business information. So Google Places. There's also a bunch of different open source places as well that have that data. So we're partnering with people to collect that data.
Yeah. Any last questions? We're good. All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Okay, next up is Jessica Ochoa Hendrix, CEO of Killer Snails. Killer Snails creates immersive games and experiences to inspire a love of science. Hey, Jessica, come on up.
Thank you. I am change this up and not use PowerPoint. So I'm going to see if this will connect.
Here you go.
Okay, great. Yes,
Jessica, here you go.
And I forgot that I'm supposed to use a mic. So I'm Jessica Ochoa Hendrix. I'm very excited to be here with you. And I'm going to be telling you about Killer Snails and the work that we're doing. Are any of the folks in this room, raise your hand if you work in education or in the ed tech space? All right, excellent. So we have a few people in here already. What I'm going to do is basically take you through what we're currently developing. So this is not released yet, but this is a product for students in grades 3 through 5. It's called Waterways, and Waterways is being developed by us in collaboration with the Wildlife Conservation Society and Hudson River Park and Mount Sinai's Transdisciplinary Center for Early Environmental Education. So all of our products include 3 parts. There is a digital science journal, which is what you're looking at right now. And then there is either an augmented reality or a virtual reality part. And there's a teacher dashboard. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of what the digital science journal looks like. Again, keeping in mind, this is really for students in grades 3 through 5. So we start off with featuring a scientist, that's Dr. Mary Cami. And she is a shark scientist at the Wildlife Conservation Society. I'm not going to play this whole video just because I don't want to take up too much time. But basically in the video, you go on a boat with her and you see them pull up a shark and they tag the shark during the video. So the students watch that. And then we have them launch Web AR. So it's being designed so you could actually use this also on a phone or an iPad. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm doing it on a computer, as I think that will work best. And that is what we've been doing in a lot of classrooms, because thanks in large parts to the pandemic, all kids seem to have access to Chromebooks now or some kind of a tablet. So we start off just kind of showing them the shark and showing them that they're going to be clicking on these different points of interest. I've lost my cursor on the screen. There it is. There. So they click through and they read a little bit about each of these adaptations. And as they go through, they're learning a little bit more based off of further from what they saw from the video. And they can move the shark around, they can turn it around, they can make it bigger and smaller. And then we get to one of the first new facts that many people didn't know, that when sharks are stressed, they actually will vomit their stomachs out their mouth. It's called everting. So this particular shark is now going to evert its stomach. Oh, yeah, there it goes. And out things come from the stomach. So we use that as like an initial sort of hook to get them, excited, because kids in elementary school really like sharks and like this. And so then after that, they are to tag their shark. And if you did choose a different place, it prompts you and tells you why that place would not be good. But I just went for the right place. And then it will bring them back into their digital science journal. So when they come back from that, the first thing that we want to ask them is just a quick check for understanding kind of question. Oh, I have now broken our thing. As I mentioned, this is still in development and not launched. There we go. So when they come back, then we ask them to write a quick sentence about one of the adaptations they learned, and we prompt them by reminding them of the things they saw. For the purposes of this, I'm just writing testing. And then we again asked them to confirm the kinds of things that they saw in the stomach. And at that point, that kind of leads, like, how did this plastic bottle end up in their stomach? And we share another interesting fact that there was once an entire suit of armor that was found inside of a shark's stomach. So here, we're saying, okay, how did it get in there? Where did it come from? And how did it get into the ocean? And so we use data from the Wildlife Conservation Society to plot out everywhere where these sharks can be found around New York. So you can see kind of over a timeline where the shark went. And they travel to deeper, warmer waters in the winter. And here we then say, okay, so how did it get in there? Some ideas. Maybe the bottle came from, sorry, the beach. There are lots of people on the beach. Could have been somebody didn't put it in the proper place there. Or maybe it came from a fishing boat. So it could have come off of there, or maybe it came from this CSO point, an outfall. So for the, you can choose any of these to make your hypothesis. And then when you tap on it, it will remember that. And again, I'm not going to go too far, but just to show you kind of how we then have them learn more, we basically tell them, okay, we're going to test your hypothesis. You've already written one out. Let's see if you were right. So then you can drag your little drone markers around and have your drones go to collect plastic from the ocean to see where it could be from. So we can see you got 6 pounds of plastic over there, maybe over here, closer to the beach. $36 pounds, but maybe it's closer to this outfall. 112 pounds, and then just double checking. And yeah, definitely the most over there. So you can drag these around as much as you want to determine where you want to collect from. And then this basically lets you say, okay, I thought it was from the outfall. Is that the one that's closest? And you would say, yes, actually it is. And so then you can write a sentence about it. And I'm not going to take you through the whole experience, but that's basically how all of these things link. So there's the AR, then there's questions about the AR. They're collecting data based off things they saw. And then the other part of this is this is like the back end of what teachers would see. So they could see all of the responses. They can see what they interacted with in AR. They can click on different parts and if they're still logged in, and they can give comments and feedback on each of these things to see kind of how the students worked. And that's basically what we're working on with this. Each of our products takes about 5 class periods. So we work with schools, and either they'll do it as a unit, like a week-long unit, or sometimes they do it as like an after-school program where it's once a week after schools for about 5 weeks. But our ask is if you are part of a school, or you will work with schools, or if you even have children in your lives that are between the ages of like, let's say 8 to 12, because we have another product that's worth that, then we're always looking for people to play test and to give feedback on the user interaction and experience.
Nice. Great job. Any questions? Where's the box? Where's the box?
Up in the air.
Okay.
The box is up in the air, so anyone who asks a question has to be prepared to catch the box from the air.
All right. Huh.
You develop these for each school specifically, or do you have like curriculum that
Great question. No, we develop these and they're used in schools across the country. So we, when we develop these, we partner with different organizations to create the content, and we work with different teachers on that specifically. But then we test and sell to districts across the country.
So kind of a follow-up to that. So what would be the guidance for like creating these different, it almost looks like a kind of worksheet, but like a little lesson. What is the guidance for creating these different lessons that then apply to multiple different schools?
Oh, that's a great question. So we also create these educator guides. So on our team, we do have 2 current teachers that are educational consultants who help to create lesson guides that show exactly how this lines up with the next generation science standards. It has in it common misconceptions. It has ideas for scaffolding questions and pretty much everything that you could want to help you to implement this fairly seamlessly.
Jessica, I have a question for you. So is there a way that, or have you looked at how they're learning about sharks today, and then how they're learning about sharks with your product and what the difference is in adoption and learning?
No, but our work is also largely funded through a small business innovation research grant from the National Institutes of Health. So part of what's included in that is we are doing an RCT study. So we will be able to say that at the end of this school year. So we have schools lined up who will be using this in randomized classrooms. So we will actually be able to say that.
Thanks. Okay, anybody else? All right. Oh, we got one more. All right, sorry. Premature clap.
Yeah, I'm curious, what is the content model on the back end, learning object model, or the authoring tools that you're using for?
So do you mean when we're creating this, or do you mean like the content itself? Yeah. So we basically, all of the AR and VR is created with Unity, and then with the website, we have things linked to the next generation science standards, but not like specifically tagged that way. So it's much more interdisciplinary and has kind of the cross-cutting concepts that are now a big part of the NGSS standards. If that answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? I think we're good. All right. Thanks, Jessica. Okay. Okay, and last but not least, next up is Peter Thum, co-founder and CEO of Muse. And joining Peter is Jake Pizer, founding software engineer, and Brad Willard, CTO of Muse. So Muse is democratizing digital creation by offering a no-code solution that reimagines how the web works in a way no other product has done before. Hey guys, come on up.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Is it working? Okay.
Good.
We're doubling down and trying to make this more complicated slides and computer. Note to self, don't follow the woman with the puking shark. So Muse is a company that I founded together with one of my longtime friends and investors, Dan Sutera. Between us, we've started 13 for-profit companies and 4 not-for-profits. 3 of the companies are unicorn scale businesses. And so Dan came to me with this idea when we were working on something else and said, I have to roll off what we're doing because I have this thing I have to do. And I looked at it, and then he went off to look for a young CEO. And then he came back and decided to take an old CEO. And so we started working on this last year, and this is Muse. So Muse is your homepage for everything. It lets you integrate everything that you do on the web. You can create sites and pages with simple drag and drop, no code page builder using components for composition, social media integration, work productivity, and entertainment. And our first products are link in bio, most of you probably know the product Linktree, and websites. And so these guys are going to do a demo for you, a real demo of our product. We're going to build a page and show it to you. And then we'll do some Q&A after that.
All right. Hi. So I'm Brad. One of the things I'm very excited about with Muse is sometimes a website is kind of a burden. It's a big project. Sometimes you can spend many weeks on it. Jake's going to bring up some examples of pages we built on Muse. But then the flip side is sometimes a Twitter post, Instagram, it's a little bit too small. And you also have this problem when you're building a website that, you need content, you want high quality content, things like that, but you're already putting it out there on the internet. And so what we've tried to do is couldn't there be a product in the middle? And so, we're not promoting me, but I guess we are. But the point is you already have all this great content on the internet, and we can make it really easy to bring that and centralize it in one place. We think that we have a product here that could be really interesting and can serve a lot of different use cases on the internet. So these are all wildly different types of people that are currently on Muse. These are people we've brought on early. So what we'd actually like to do is we're showing some examples. You can make it as big or as small as you want. This is more of a traditional link in bio use case, but there's nothing stopping you from actually building it out into a larger website product with lots of pages, sub pages, inviting collaborators, things like that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through a real but fictional use case, and we actually want to do a real product demo and like show you stuff on the fly. So Jake's going to just start from a cold start and just figure out like, let's start building a page for this designer. Her name is Clara. And so what we're going to do is we kind of internet stalked her, and I apologize. But we've like found different content of her all over the internet, and we're just like going through as though she's a persona and like building out her page here. So, you know, right now, Jake's going through the process of personalizing it. One of the things that we've done, and you can kind of see it on the left, is that we wanted to make it really easy to add functionality to web pages over time. And what I mean by that is, you know, a lot of the technology landscape changes a lot. Different products become come in and out of fad, become fashionable, become useful. And so one of the advantages and one of the things that we're really priding ourselves on is the ability to integrate new technologies into our platform quickly. So on the left there, you can see that we have lots of different types of components. We have like the basic ones you'd expect to see on any website builder, but we also have things around social, whether it's like Instagram, TikTok, whatever's the cool thing in 5 years, things like Google Drive. And ideally, like we want this to be an extensible platform. So ideally, we want to make it as easy as possible to add new functionality to websites, as opposed to waiting around for 3 years on your favorite website builder to actually go and build it. So right now, like as you see, like Jake's actually made quite a bit of progress. We've taken information from this person's Instagram. We've started to organize them with topics. We're building out the link in bio use case. When we add links automatically, we kind of pull metadata about them to try to make the product look as nice and easy as possible as we get started. We're going to show you a couple different types of components here. We're going to be, you know, dragging in some image assets. Some of the fun stuff we'll hopefully see is like, you know, you can't have a product without animated GIF support. You know, that's essential. What else do we have?
We're building for a graphic designer who's a consultant. So she's trying to build her presence on the web. She's showing some artifacts that she's built for clients in the past. And the number one request we get from individuals who are contractors are, I want to be able to intake requests, people who are interested in me helping their business grow and building out sites for them. So building components that take the things that they already do on the web, like Clara already has a form, which helps her intake new clients, ask her questions about email, budgets, use case, and just drop them directly from her website instead of having to direct them to 5 different places. She consolidates all into one.
Yeah, so we're going to bring some other things because, like, you know, ideally, like one of the things that we think about a lot at Muse, and we think a lot about on the internet, is like there's kind of like 4 pillars of what you need to be successful on the internet. 1, you need to be able to make like great, robust content. 2, you need to be able to like search and discover and share that content. 3, I mean, something that I'm very excited about is collaborating to make great content. And then 4 is to be able to monetize it. So, you know, you have to have Venmo and you have to take money. I know it says Clara, but it goes to me and I accept donations. So anyone feel free to scan and send me money. To go back to the use case. So what's Clara doing in this case, Jake?
Going back and as a professional, I've been in the industry for 10 years. I have a number of collection of different talks that I've given, videos that I've built on the web to represent my authenticity, my trustworthiness as a potential consultant, and to just, you know, my presence exists elsewhere. When someone builds a website, you rarely often write everything from scratch. You're just trying to consolidate who you are and what you do. And the reality is that content exists elsewhere. So if you pull it into a centralized location, this is something that we just built in about, I don't know, how are we doing on time? Maybe 7 minutes?
We're good.
And I'd say this is probably the majority of consulting websites out there, sans a few other landing pages. So I think it's pretty well presentable. It looks great on desktop. It looks great on mobile. We can go ahead and bring up an incognito browser. Is your arm getting tired?
No, I'm good.
And you know, you direct anybody from your Instagram presence, and you end up with a site that looks like you hired a designer to do it. Maybe you hired Clara to do it. Who knows? But some of these components, right? We optimize the experience based on the device that you're on. Now you can pop open the form into full screen. I think I'm a bit off the screen there. You can bring up the gallery. And these things are all optimized to where you're viewing, how you're viewing it. And we're hoping that with little thought, people can bridge that gap that's been starting to erode recently with recent products like Linktree and other competitors who are building these things that we like to call microsites, and bridging the social media with the website persona and thinking of, in the middle, something so simple that we start building sites for use cases that we hadn't really thought possible because the friction is too high.
Yeah, so should we go back to Q&A?
I think I'm in charge of putting up the slide if I can do it. Get the screen back. Why don't we just leave this up and then I'll put up that slide at the end. So if you want to grab the product from the QR code or the link, you can. So if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask me.
Guys? Right down here. Oh, we'll start up there. Easy one.
You do a lot of stuff in the front end. When it comes to like my discoverability on like search and other things like this, do you do anything in the back end to optimize like search engines like Google's and the like?
No.
Actually, we want to do two things there. So kind of like what you're seeing, I would say, is like us moving 5% into our journey. A couple things that we really want to do, we didn't really want to focus too much on the demo today, but like, yes, we do definitely want to make sure that you're easily discoverable on the internet. But the other thing too is that we also want to have internal tools to make content easily shareable and discoverable within Muse itself. Like we really are hoping that we're creating like a kind of like a different and better way to like share different types of content. And we also in the near term hope to be part of that, like provide that facility to be the social discovery and sharing platform. Like we ideally wanted people to come in, find things that they're interested in. Like maybe she's part of a designer collective, and then ideally you can join that site and start contributing stuff to that, to the like a greater purpose. Yeah.
So you said the bridging between social media and websites. So how are you going to, is it an advertising model or is it a membership model? And then the second piece of this is how will you police that?
So the revenue.
Peter, you don't have to answer that. This is a tech-only conference.
Pardon?
The booing has
We're getting
started. They asked a business model question. Please escort him out of the room. Thank you.
You're off the hook, Peter.
The answer is you send me money through the QR code.
So really, we think there are various sources of potential revenue. Subscriptions. So it's a freemium model. So we expect that we'll introduce a premium version of this product. Ultimately, we probably will have outside developers developing components for our product, and people will be able to purchase those. We may or may not receive revenue through that. I think we may end up taking some revenue as well from people selling content, paywalled content, and then finally and ultimately possibly an advertising model through search. But all of those things are we haven't started seeking revenue at all yet. So that's all in the future.
All right. Anybody else? All right, we're good, I guess. Did you put your ask out there? Yes.
Pardon?
Is the ask?
Oh yeah. Oh, the ask. So we're really interested in having people use our product. So if you would and you could, please grab a screenshot, or if it's doable, please use the QR code from wherever you're sitting and start using our product, and let us know what you think, and find us and tell us, and we'll be asking you as well. And if you like it, please share it with your friends.
All right. Big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You got it? You got the, does Peter have? Peter, you have the clicker. Absconding. Yeah, you do. Okay, so to end our evening, what we'd like to do is just open it up to every one of you. If you have an ask or offer you'd like to put out there to the community. And Nick, can we do that with the folks on Zoom? Is it possible to get that on screen? Until
Unmute their camera or share group chat.
okay. Anyone else in the room? Okay. All right, guys. Well, big round of applause for everybody here, and thanks for coming. That concludes our event for tonight, and hope you'll stick around and network some more, finish off the food and beverage upstairs, and we'll see you next time around.